Will top quarterback recruit Bryce Underwood ever leave Michigan if all this Sherrone Moore stuff gets out of hand with the suspensions? Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. This episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. So, how does Bryce Underwood feel about all these suspensions and the suspensions of Sherrone Moore? And is Urban Meyer a hypocrite for calling out Jim Harbaugh? Did you catch this week? We're going to get into it, plus our picks going into the weekend. But there's a lot going on at Michigan right now between the NCAA investigation for Spygate and Michigan self-imposing a 2-game ban on head coach Sherrone Moore. Has anybody other than Locked On Big Ten and this podcast right here reflected on how all this may be affecting the freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood? Anybody? We talked about it a little bit. I want to talk about it more today because I haven't seen anybody else talking about it. So let's talk about it. Does anybody think that if things start getting a little too crazy in Ann Arbor, would the top recruit in the country consider the transfer portal as soon as the season ends and go somewhere else? You know, if there's a silver lining in all this situation with Sherrone Moore, it's, around the fact that he'll be around for the first 2 games. The suspensions are for games 3 and 4. So the first game against New Mexico, second game against Moore's alma mater, Oklahoma, for that matter, the first 2 games of Underwood's career. Not only is Underwood a true freshman, he is a young true freshman. He's still just 17 years old. They didn't turn 18 until August 19th. So he'll be 18 by the time the season starts, but barely. Now, can you imagine what it would be like for him stepping into the big house as the presumptive QB1, the starter, in front of 100,000 plus fans watching your every move? What were you like when you were 17 or 18 years old? Can you imagine being in that position? And could you have performed under that kind of pressure? Many of us cannot. Now imagine doing it without your usual adult support staff, or maybe Sherrone Moore's a father figure to him at this point. I don't know. Somebody he was really leaning on, and if he wasn't there, so he's going to get his feet wet against New Mexico, and then he's going to get his feet even more wet in a hostile environment like Oklahoma in week 2. And then Underwood comes back to Ann Arbor, and his leader figure, father figure, coach Sherrone Moore is gone. What's that going to be like? This isn't like Jim Harbaugh's multiple suspensions where he was around all week. He was running practice, team meetings, film sessions. He was on the field every day at practice. He just wasn't there on game day. By then, there's so much going on game day, and you had J.J. McCarthy, who was a very veteran quarterback who knew what to do. Wasn't too shook about it. So Moore is going to have to completely disappear for 2 weeks, and he's not going to be allowed to have any contact with the team or Underwood or anything. And they're going to be preparing for Central Michigan, and they're going to be preparing for their first Big Ten game, which happens to be on the road at Nebraska. If Underwood thinks that Oklahoma's going to be crazy, wait till he meets Husker fans. Yeah. So a lot of Underwood's guidance during this time of uncertainty will naturally fall on the shoulders of offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Chip Lindsey. So hopefully he's all ready for that. But all in all, Underwood and Michigan, I think they should be able to handle this adversity of just a 2-game suspension with Sherrone Moore. But what if the NCAA comes out and says, 2 games for Spygate, 2 games for 52 deleted messages with Spygate mastermind Connor Stallions? That's not enough. What if they come back to Michigan this summer and say, we want more? We want 4 games. or maybe even the entire season. You think it's crazy? Maybe, maybe not. But Jim Harbaugh got a 4-year show cause ban from the NCAA for Burgergate. Assistant Steve Klinkscale got 2 years. Defensive coordinator Jesse Minter got 1 year. Do we all think that the NCAA is going to be cool with just 2 games for Sherrone Moore? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think you have to ask the question. The possibility still looming out there over the summer. And they will see Moore as a 2-time offender of their rules. Remember, Moore got suspended for game 1 during the 2023 season, along with Harbaugh's 3-game suspension at the beginning of the season for all of the recruiting violations and Burgergate and all that stuff. And by the way, regarding Connor Stanley, does anybody think it's weird that Connor Stanley's ended up being Underwood's assistant high school coach just weeks before he flipped from LSU to Michigan? We haven't done enough on that. Anyway, a lot could go wrong for Michigan and Underwood at this point. It could, or it could be just status quo. But if you don't think along the way that schools like LSU, for example, remember, Underwood was all set to go to LSU and play for Brian Kelly. He committed early, verbally, and even just a few weeks before signing day, doubled down. Says, no, I'm committed to LSU. I'm a quarterback. I'm going somewhere where I think where my passing game can be enhanced. Get me ready for the next level. He kind of took a veiled shot at Michigan and didn't think that they were up for developing him as a quarterback. So he said, I'm all in on LSU. And then all of a sudden he wasn't. And all of a sudden he was coming to Michigan. And you all know the story by now. Michigan, they threw everything with the kitchen sink at him, including $12.5 million in name, image, and likeness. They had Tom Brady call him up and try and coax him into and coming to Michigan. They found out that one of their alums was married to the head guy at Oracle, who's a billionaire. Hey, help us out. $12 million, $12.5 million. He changed his mind. So he's coming to Michigan. All right, that's all good. Would he leave $12.5 million behind? That's a good point. Maybe all this is going on. You're going to say, Craig, dude's got a $12.5 million name, image, and likeness deal. He's not going anywhere. Well, I think he could get that elsewhere. And believe me, some other schools are going to try and poach him. It happens to everybody, everywhere, at every school. You don't think Brian Kelly's people at LSU won't reach out to Underwood's people and go, hey, I know you chose Michigan and everything. You were in love with us first. We don't have anybody getting suspended over here. Everything's steady. Come on here. We're cranking out Heisman Trophy winners at quarterback. Come on and play for us at LSU. That's going to happen. It's probably already happening, to be honest. So there's going to be an effort to pull them away. And if it gets too crazy, and if Sherrone Moore gets more punishment, more suspensions, longer suspensions, it may seem a little chaotic for a 17, 18-year-old going, man, what's going on around me here? So I asked the question once again, would he leave and hit the transfer portal after his freshman year at Michigan? I think the question has to be asked. He certainly could get that kind of money elsewhere. I think there's a bigger market for Underwood than, say, Nico Iamaleava, who misjudged his market completely when he left Tennessee for UCLA. That's a whole different story. But anyway, I think Underwood could actually name his price in the marketplace no matter where he would go. And maybe he'll stay at Michigan and have a nice long career, make lots of money, and win lots of football games. All of that is very possible. We'd like to know what you think. The question had to be asked. Nobody's talking about this suspension from Underwood's standpoint. A new, young, inexperienced quarterback ready to start his career. It's a lot going on around that kid. Anyway, hit us up with the comments. We'd love to hear from you on all that. Be sure to hit the free subscribe button down below so you never miss an episode. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go chronologically, and we group them by schools. Let's go under Michigan. And at the bottom, you can click a link and buy your favorite team's merchandise. You want some Michigan merchandise, shirts, T-shirts, hats for the upcoming season? It is all right there at your fingertips. So we invite you to check that out, talkbig10.com, and check it out for yourself. All right, another story. Urban Meyer on his podcast. He just called out Jim Harbaugh without calling out Jim Harbaugh and called for him to be banned from college football for life for lying to the NCAA. Urban Meyer. Urban's never lied before, right? Since the sarcasm, we'll talk about that. That's next right here on Locked On Big Ten. I want to tell you about Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required here. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports, College Football 25, or Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Avowed, all right there. As easy as you stream your favorite TV shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. So check it out. With 4K streaming, you got over 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribe services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. So check it out. Head on over to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On and get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. So check that out with Amazon Fire TV. This episode is brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can get it all done. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the all-stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier, seeing your whole supply chain easier, managing logistics easier, responding to price changes easier. From small business and big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, to think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success with www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. So, former Ohio State football coach Urban Meyer is getting some deserved blowback for recent comments on his Triple Option podcast. He said coaches who are caught lying to the NCAA should be automatically banned from coaching college football forever. Says you're done. He said the NCAA historically has had a zero tolerance position when players are caught lying to NCAA investigators, and he wonders why coaches are not held to the same standard. Said if you lie as a college football coach to the NCAA, in my personal opinion, you're finished. You're done, quote unquote. He said, look, sending a text message when you're not supposed to is one thing. Going to lunch with a recruit when you're not supposed to is one thing. Contact or sending a letter to a recruit when you're not supposed to is one thing. But when the NCAA nails you on it and you refuse to cooperate or flat out lie, he said, quote, in my very strong opinion, you're finished coaching Division I, unquote. These examples that he's giving sound eerily similar to Jim Harbaugh's Burgergate situation, do they not? Mm-hmm. When he met with recruits for lunch at a burger place in Ann Arbor during a non-contact period due to the COVID pandemic. And at the time, the NCAA tried to nail Harbaugh with a minor level 2 recruiting violation, a little slap on the wrist. But Harbaugh was not cooperative and didn't help him out on the investigation in the matter. And in fact, the NCAA said the Harbaugh was not truthful in the matter. And so they bumped it up to a level 1. much more serious violation. He was eventually suspended for the first 3 games of the 2023 season for all this. So it's clear that Urban Meyer's talking about Jim Harbaugh, right? We all agree. But this is where Urban should probably sit this one out, right? What do I mean by that? Well, does anybody remember when Ohio State suspended Urban Meyer for the first 3 games of the 2018 season for his handling of allegations against his former assistant, where he was not truthful, and saying he was not truthful as being soft and generous? During the Big Ten Media Days of 2018, Urban absolutely got caught lying about having any knowledge about a 2015 domestic violence allegation against his assistant, Zach Smith. Big deal. It was a very big deal. There were deleted injury screenshots and text messages that indicated that Smith's wife, who is the alleged abused in this case, had shared information with Urban's wife, Shelley, and told her that abuse was happening. And when Urban turned his phone over to investigators, text messages older than a year had been deleted. Deleted text messages. Sherrone Moore, Urban Meyer, a lot of that going on. Investigators also indicated that Urban had consulted with Ohio State's director of football ops on how to delete text messages older than a year because he didn't know how to do it. There were other issues with Smith that Urban had to deal with over the years that led us to believe that he knew everything that was going on. Yet, when asked numerous questions about it at Big Ten Media Day that year in 2018, Urban claimed to know nothing about the Smith situation. He said he never even had a conversation about it, and then asked rhetorically out loud, indignantly, who would ever create a story like that? He also claimed that he knew nothing, and had he known anything, he would have made a change on the staff, of course. Yet in his statement following all that embarrassment to Buckeye Nation, he said he reported Smith's domestic violence information in 2015 up the proper channels. That means he knew about it, and that means he lied about it repeatedly to the media during Big Ten Media Days, and then later was suspended. He said he never intended to be untruthful about the Smith situation. Instead, he admitted to being caught off guard by the questions. Wasn't prepared that day. In other words, he lied. He lied. Now, I remember the next day on ESPN's Get Up, Jay Billis came on the show to talk about it. And he said, when are we going to quit saying somebody misremembered something or misspoke? When are we going to start calling a lie a lie? And Urban Meyer was a liar. Jay Billis said that. He said that Urban flat out lied. Now, let me say, none of us are perfect. And in this case, Urban Meyer lied to the media, not the NCAA. So it's not exactly what he was talking about in his podcast. But still, if you've been caught in a big lie, let's not drive so hard to the hoop calling out one of your rivals for lying as well. Urban might have wanted to have sat this one out, my opinion. What do you think? Hit me up in the comments. Would love to hear from you on all of this. By the way, the odds of winning a national championship, a Big Ten championship have changed. Now, we always do picks on Friday, and since there aren't any big games, basketball, football, whatever, we're going to look at the odds. They've changed a little bit for each of the Big Ten teams in winning the Big Ten championship this year. And as some come, I think there's some that are the odds. I think there's some value there. Some teams that they don't have ranked as highly as they should. We'll do that in just a minute. As you know, we always do a feature at the end of our podcast. Top 10 Big Ten observations on Monday, Tuesday tweets, Wednesday we power rank stuff, Thursdays Big Ten classics and live action, and Friday we do some sort of picks or odds or that sort of thing. We'll see where your favorite team is on that list in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Monarch Money. You ever check your banking account and you wonder, man, where'd all my money go? I mean, it's the weekend. Where's my money? You spend it all. You got to find out where you spend it all. You got to keep track of it. Have something help you keep track of it. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, although it can do that. It's a complete financial command center where you track all of your accounts, your investments, and your spending all in one place. Gives you great insights, all in one convenience. Bring all of your apps to all of your financial stuff and your credit cards all in one place. Bring them in from your spouse or your significant other all in one place. So you check it out. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Once again, monarchmoney.com. All right, it is time to take a look at our features here. And oops, I got to get rid of something there on the screen. My bad. All right, so we always do a feature. We're going to take a look at some odds for the Big Ten football championship. Who's winning it this year? I'm going to put this on full screen. If you're audio only, we can check it out. These are the latest odds we can share with you here. So I'm a little surprised because a lot of pundits, a lot of people are saying this is Penn State's year, right? Well, look at this. Ohio State is still the favorite in Vegas at plus 170. Oregon Ducks coming in at number 2, the defending Big Ten champions at plus 230. And then Penn State, again, who everybody's saying, hey, look at Drew Aller, most experienced quarterback. I think what Joel Klatt's got Penn State winning the Big Ten. Somebody else had them winning the Big Ten. I think we had them. I think it was 24-7 maybe. We also had them in our latest power rankings. Number 1, James Franklin is ready to roll. You throw in defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. And I think they're higher than 3rd, but they're plus 380 at Vegas. And then it's a big drop-off after that. So it's Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, plus 170, plus 230, plus 380. Also, by the way, if you missed our episode yesterday on Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator at Penn State, got a little bit more of the story thanks to Heather Dinich at ESPN, kind of filled in some gaps on the timeline when he decided to leave Ohio State right after their championship, and pick up the phone and call James Franklin and go over to Penn State. So that's in yesterday's podcast. If you want to go back for a second, listen after this one, check it out. It's pretty good. I think there's a lot of good information there if you want to check that out. So got those are your top 3 above, head and shoulders above everybody else. And then also, I should also point out here before we move on that CBS is predicting only 3 Big Ten teams get playoff spots, 3 of the 12 instead of the 4 that we think we're used to or should get: Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, and then a drop-off. They do not think Michigan or Indiana or Nebraska or anybody else is going to get in the playoffs. They got Michigan. We got Michigan here with the latest Vegas odds of winning the Big Ten at plus 800. And then another big drop-off. Indiana, who made the playoffs last year and came pretty close to being in the Big Ten championship game. Remember, people forget, Ohio State, Indiana finished ahead of Ohio State, even though Ohio State beat Indiana. It was Oregon number 1, and then Penn State got in the Big Ten championship game because of a tiebreaker with Indiana. They had the same record. They could have been in the Big Ten championship game. So Indiana plus 2,500 to win the Big Ten. Nebraska at plus 4,500, as is USC. And again, is this a year that Lincoln Riley and USC kind of jumps up a little bit? I don't know. Then another drop off with Iowa, Kirk Ferentz at plus 5,000. Here's a couple that I think are some good value. I don't know if they're going to win the Big Ten, but I would have them with better odds than this. Washington at plus 6,000 and Illinois at plus 6,000. Illinois, a 10-win team last year with Luke Altmaier coming back. I think there's some value there if you want to sprinkle a little extra something at plus 6,000. I mean, they get on a run and they got a good schedule. They can get in that Big Ten championship game. After that, who knows what happens? Minnesota is at plus 10,000, and then we got some long shots here. with Wisconsin at plus 18,000. I'm going to tell you right now, and that's a big drop off there. Wisconsin, they're going to win the Big Ten. They take on 7 ranked teams. They have a brutal schedule this year. Michigan State, Aiden Childs plus 18,000. Then we got Mike Loxley's Maryland team at plus 27,000, and also Sean Foster at 27,000 at UCLA. And then Northwestern and Purdue at plus 50,000. Not great odds for them. And then because of New Jersey betting laws, we can't get odds on Rutgers at this time. But anyway, let me know what you think. Take a good look at this list. For everybody, Vegas still thinks this is Ohio State, even though it's other than you got a couple of good players on each side of the ball coming back. A lot of new people. And Julian Sain, brand new quarterback. But they got Ohio State with the best odds at plus 170, Oregon plus 230. You a little surprised by that? I am. I'm a little surprised by that. Let me know what you think. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know where you're going to sprinkle your action at. Anyway, that's a look at our pick, or the odds for winning the Big Ten championship this year. Taking a look at that as we head into the weekend. All right, pretty cool. Many ways for you to interact with me along the way. Twitter, X, at Talk Big Ten. We got our website, talkbig10.com. Check it out. All of our podcasts go there. Plus, you can buy merchandise from your favorite team. Whatever you do, feel free to subscribe. It's for free, and that way you'll never miss a single episode. We also ask that you tell your friends about us, share, follow, and like. We're here every day. Big Ten video and audio, and all 18 teams with news, analysis, and opinion, all in one place right here. So check it out. In the meantime, always invite you to go back, take a second listen at a prior episode. We talked about the Jim Knowles thing from yesterday. Also, you can check out our friend Brian Smith with the Portal Show. Everything Portal right there at your fingertips. He's got you with the whole college football landscape there, the Portal Show on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. That'll do it for us. For you, have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Enjoy it. And we can't wait till we talk again on Monday for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. See you next time.